Hey everybody, Brian Mull here with a bit of an SEO tutorial. This is what I do when I am encountering a new website or client that is maybe just launched their site, maybe wants to get update on where things are at, both from search visibility. Is their site optimized? It could be any of those number of questions. But when people first come to me, this is the basic process that I go through to figure out what's going on. Every SEO is going to have a different way of doing this. This is by no means the end-all way. This is just my way of getting the process started. You'll see as we get into this, there will be rabbit holes that you could go down and deep dive into some certain subjects, and you can make that those choices at your own discretion. But from top level perspective, I'm going to be reviewing the website criticaldesign.net. I work for Critical Design as the director of sales and marketing, and this website was designed by an advertising agency and then handed over to the client. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm just making sure that everything is safe and sound. It just got moved to a new web host or a different hosting account. So I just want to make sure that it's A, healthy, that B, that it's optimized, that there's nothing glaringly wrong or anything that's broken. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into this process. The first thing I do is crawl the site with Screaming Frog. Buy the paid version if you can. If not, I'm sure the free version will suffice. The free version only covers 500 URLs. If you're really crawling a site, it's going to probably be more than that in most cases. So I have a paid version, going to get started. I'll let this do its thing, while in the background, because I'm going to start looking at some other things while it's crawling. So generally, one of the first things I will do when I'm looking into the SEO status of a website is a site colon search in Google. So site colon domain dot extension .net.com. And when you do this, it's going to show you all the pages that this website has indexed within Google. And what I'm really looking for is it says it's about 38 pages. I know that this Critical Design website has about 38 pages. I've gone through and checked it out. And that's one of the things I'll do in the beginning too, is kind of look at every single page on a website. I'll do I'll take a look at their XML sitemap, which we'll get to, and see how many pages are in there. Make sure that matches up. I'll also go into Webmaster Tools and see how many pages they say are indexed and just make sure they are close. Another thing I look for are old URLs that need redirects. So I'll sometimes jump to these latter pages. I know that this was an ASP website, and now it is a WordPress website with a .html written in the permalinks. I'm not sure why the developer did that. That's a technique that no longer works for SEO, so I would not recommend doing this. It just clutters stuff up. But what I'm looking for is some ASP pages. I'm not really seeing any. Like this test landing page, we should probably put that into draft mode and remove that from the index. I think that might have already been done. Let's just take a look. Yeah, it's creating a 404, so there should be a redirect put in place there. So it doesn't show up. That'll eventually work its way out. Things like that, pages that shouldn't be there, that are there. You want to identify those and get them out any way you can, most likely using a no index, no follow tag in the meta section of that page. You can look that up online if you want to learn more about that. Looking pretty legit. Just looking for weird stuff that shouldn't be in there. I'm also looking to see if somebody took the time to write meta descriptions and titles that made sense. And in this case, it looks like the web development firm did do a good job of that. I mean, we're not looking at truncated descriptions. These are the right length. These meta titles are the right length. It has a company name in there. Could they be more? Absolutely. But are they bone stock? No. So take a look at this other page again. Just want to look at these metas. Yeah, I mean, somebody took the time to make sure this is right. So that's looking good. You're hoping to see that. That's basic 101 stuff, is to make sure that your meta titles and descriptions are optimized for every single page on a site. If not, make sure you get it done. Has a better chance of ranking, mainly because this is what people see when they type in a search and your pages come up in search results. This is what they're seeing. So, like for the example, this says careers Critical Design Associates. That could be find the best career of your life find the IT career that you always wanted, critical design. It could be more compelling than this if you wanted to, which I think it pays off to work on that. So site colon search. I'm going to bring up a site colon search for a busy website. I checked these guys out the other day. They're Maxta. They do this hyper-convergence software. Cool website, very visible. Good number of pages on here. I'm not sure how many. I didn't dive into their analytics, but I just thought the site was nice, and I talked to the guys at this company. They're doing a good job. Went into the site colon search on them. They got 436 pages. So that can tell me a lot. I mean, I can tell that these guys are doing events. If I go in here deep, they got a lot of info on their company. I can go even deeper. This looks like they have, so you can tell right there that they had their own HR listings. I can tell by this date that this is some form of a blog post. Let's check it out. Recent post, blog. So, just by a simple site colon search, I can tell that they've been doing content marketing for a long time. I went through this, and there's blog posts that go back to 2013. So they've been doing content marketing, blogging on their own site. They do event marketing because we could see those event pages. It looks like they are definitely some of these pages might not be optimized. See how it's truncating right here with the dot, dot, dot? It should really be a set amount so it doesn't just cut off like that. So, maybe they didn't optimize every single page. There's 436 of them, but just very interesting. If I'd go in here and I'd see 5,000, I think there'd be a problem. If companies are having issues with subdomains and other domains that duplicate content of like one site, sometimes you can find that in here through this. So you just want to look for weird stuff and just get an idea of what they're doing to what they're talking about on their website. So that's the site colon search. You start off with that, and that's why you want to do that. So in the case of critical, 38 results sounds about right. So I look through the site, and I can come over here to their Google Search Console, and I can go to index status. What do we got here? Whoops. That's not what I wanted. And this is how you'd find this. So it's saying total 0. Oh, that's not good. I might be on the wrong account. Let me just check. The other thing I'll do is I just created the Google Search Console account for this like a day ago, so it might not be populating yet. What I can do as well, just to verify that I got the right number of pages on my site, which is one of the goals, is the sitemap. So I know I uploaded a sitemap. 34 submitted, 38 in the index. That's close enough. It's if it would say 34 here and that there's 2,000 pages in that site colon search, I know I'd have problems. So moving on, keeping things light. Plug it into SEMrush. See what I find out. Wonderful tool. If you're an SEO, this is staples. This is mainstay right here. But I can tell that there has not been a lot done to this site in a while. I mean, we was getting very little traffic for a long time. I mean, basically nothing. And then it looks like this year they started to, they redesigned the site in October and been pushing a little bit of traffic to it. But I mean, we're not talking about a lot of traffic. There's not a lot going on here. So it tells me a lot. It means that nobody really optimized this site. Nobody's really focused on this site before. Number of backlinks, there's only 4. That's not a lot. Organic search, 6 keywords. I guess this is what this is telling me. Let me just make sure. It's got to be ranking for more than 6 keywords, but let's just see what this says. Well, it's going to let me know. Oh, traffic 6. The number of users expected to visit the website. Yeah, well, I mean, there's not a lot of traffic coming through here. So, but this does show what they rank for and what the position is. So this will give you some insight into what their keyword rankings look like. Just going to see if I can sort it by number one, see what positions are ranking number one, if any. Endpoint management, let's go the other direction. Check back on my frog crawl. Looks like that's complete. Come back here and take a look at this. Yes, no real first page rankings for anything except for the term critical design. So, that would tell me there's work to be done. Backlink analysis, I could only see that there was 4 backlinks, but there's obviously some link building that's going to need to be going on. So basically, just within a quick glance of SEMrush, I can tell that it's going to need some work in terms of SEO. But it looks like not a whole lot was done, so that's almost clean slate work. So I'd rather see a profile like this. Go back to Maxta because I'm gonna show you some other cool stuff that I found through that other company since I'm using them as an example. There's other things here within SEMrush that you could use if you really want to get nuts. I mean, I just really looking at keywords, backlinks. Are they doing paid search? Let's take a look at that. This company's never done paid search, so nothing should show up here. Yeah, not surprising. So, to go back to my story of Maxta, that hyper-virgin software company, I plugged them in because I was curious what they were doing. Found some interesting things. This is some of the cool stuff that you can find at SEMrush, and this is a better example since they got more going on. And I want to show you what you can find quickly just by using this tool. So look at how many. Okay, so they're showing up in search. They're doing paid search. They're doing link building. Okay. I mean, or they're doing some. They're getting some sort of backlinks. You saw our last site had 4. They have 1,000. So that's great. Okay, start taking a look at this. So we can look at the timeline that they were doing paid back in January 15 all the way through 16 sporadically. Not sure what happened, but what's interesting here is when we hit January 2017, the organic went up and stayed up and steadily has been increasing, which that tells me definitely they either did a redesign or started doing digital marketing or SEO or something in the last year through 17 through 18. That's obvious. So that would lead me over to this backlinks. I'm like, okay, well, are they link building to do that? Like, how are they getting that done? Okay. I want to look at the overview. I'm looking for a timeline. So, all right. September 2017. I need a year. I need a 3-month. I want all time. Okay. So in 2017, they really started to gain some SEO traction. So it looks like even as early as November of 2016, they started to get new links. Dip down over the beginning of 2017, but check out this traction once we hit the summer. Even into September, October, like they're getting links. So, and I would imagine in this last period, if let's say they connected with an SEO company in January, by the time they would have got content marketing rocking and rolling to the part where they're getting links, it would have taken this long. So you can tell that they were doing something serious in the last year. Advertising research. I know I took a look at this. This was interesting. So this company has competitors. And don't you know it, they are bidding on their competitor's brand name, which is pretty slick. Cheap way of using paid search to your advantage in a very competitive industry. Software, especially this kind of stuff. There's a ton of vendors that do this. So, and it shows a little bit more detail their paid search history. But I just found that was interesting. Out of everything they could do paid search, they're going for competitor terms, which is pretty baller. I would say because it's probably low cost and netting them traffic. So let's keep going on here. I think that's all I really had. I mean, as you can see, you can find out a lot. Well, we know they do paid search. We know that they're doing link building in the last year just by that backlink activity. You can tell that through the organic traffic increase. We should probably go and take a look at their keywords. I'm sure they're ranking #1 for various things. Let's find out. Leave it at that. Look at that shelf. Bam! After January 2017, like they just started ranking for more keywords. So all that link building, whatever's going on there, helped them rank in more keywords, which I'm sure made them more visible in search, which in turn led to more visits to the site. So Maxta, HCI software, Metro storage cluster. I found this interesting that they were ranking keywords for networking groups in the industry. If you can't rank first for big tough terms like hyperversion technology, which is what they do, why not rank for the user groups where the people are talking about this? It's pretty slick. So this was interesting. You can see what they're ranking for. So SEMrush, very cool. I'm going to move on. So we already took a look at the site colon search. I'm now jumping into Google Analytics. What do I see when I'm in here? I'm just going to open up just some windows in the last 3 months. I mean, I know they went live in October, so maybe I'll open it up past October to like, let's just go October 1st. Last 3 months. All right. Well, it's not getting a lot of traffic, but it is a new site. People viewing a couple pages. Average session duration looks nice. Bounce rate, acceptable. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see, where are people coming from? Direct, so not a whole lot of organic search, a lot of direct traffic. Let's just click through all these. Sometimes I'll take the time just to click through all these and see what I find. Stuff coming from LinkedIn, Google Organic. So the traffic that is coming in that's not direct is organic traffic, not bad. See if they got any links, referrals. Not really. It's not bad, just means there's room for improvement. Yeah, okay. What's top landing pages? Let's look at all pages first. This is the landing page for their recent event, so it's not surprising that that page has traffic. But high engagement, high bounce rate. Oops, landing page. Okay. One of the main things too I'm looking for is goal conversion setup. Not in the case of this website. So this would definitely be beneficial for them to have their forms. So you go to this contact form. This should be connected in Google Analytics so when somebody fills this out, it triggers it as a goal conversion so that you can have better tracking within here. So that would obviously need to be set up. There's other sections in here that should be set up. I think it's under audience, demographics. This is something that you have to manually set up if you don't. And what this tells you is if a real SEO is in here. Another thing is the views. Like this site only has one website data view. So whatever SEO worked on this, if even one worked on it at all, they did not configure views. So that probably means that filters, stuff like goal conversions are not set up. You can come in here to admin and you should take a look if there's any filters. Like we're not filtering out any office IPs. So this is pretty just like a slap and stick analytics installation. It's in there, it's reporting, but it could be so much better. And I often bring this up to clients because you want your analytics to be best as possible, or at least as clean as possible. And takes only a little bit of time to configure this the right way from the beginning. Jump back in here. Real time's cool. Not really useful for what I'm doing right now, but you can see who's on the site at any given minute. So that's what I'd look for in Google Analytics. The other thing I do is I'd get access to their Search Console account. Do they have their versions registered? So this site defaults to https criticaldesign.net. So that is what has been verified in Google Search Console. Right now I'm on https criticaldesign.net. Just uploaded the sitemap just a couple days ago. So it's not surprising that maybe they still did not crawl the site yet and update to that. But this site's in the index. Everything's fine. But I look through here, like what messages are in here? Has it been configured? Did they change the target country? Go through all these different areas and look for things that look out of place. If it's new, you might not have any data. See, that's interesting. SEMrush says that we only have that many links. This is saying there's 608 links, so that's interesting. It'd be something to investigate. We could do that. Is it indexed in Google? We went through this earlier. Not as of yet. It's still waiting for that crawl to sink in. Go through here and look for stuff. The main things you want to look for is under security issues. Are there any malware warnings? Was a site ever penalized? The one thing you don't want to do is take on like a total train wreck of a project where somebody did trashy link building for years and now it's your job to come in and clean it up. Like if that is the case, you should know that before you going in, and this is how you'd find out. So to check that out, one of the other things I do is I go to the robots.txt file. This is pretty straightforward. What I'm looking for is making sure that things are got to be careful what's disallowed, because if it's disallowed, that means the crawlers are not going to crawl that folder or page. So you want to make sure that there's nothing in here like homepage or just a slash. Disallow slash means just disallow your whole site, which means it won't get crawled by search engines. So here's a non-busy robots.txt file. Here's a busy one from an e-commerce store that I used to work on. So, you can disallow different things in different syntax. I forget what the term is, the exact term for this code, but regedit, you can use regedit and different syntax, I would guess, to do different things with disallowing and redirects. So stuff gets complicated, but you want to just see what you're working with. So in the case of critical, it's not really, it's just simple. So this looks all right. I'd also look at their XML sitemap. Get an idea for how many pages are in there. 1, 2. 21, 23. 23. Okay. I'm going to close to that 38 number already. Oops. Yep. Okay. That's looking about right. Now notice I did all this and have yet to really look at the website. I mean, I brought it up in the beginning, but I always do my analytics in advance so I don't go into these websites with a predetermined mindset. Many times you'll look at a website and you'll start to build your own opinions before you let the data really speak its case. So a lot of times I will not go through the site until I've gone through all my analytics tools first. Let the data tell me the real story. Then when I come in here, I don't have any preconceived notions about button colors or style of design. It doesn't matter. What matters is like what's really going on. And that's what you're going to find out through the analytics. So look at your analytics first and do a site review if you can. So with that said, this is a WordPress site. Let's log in. Let's see what's going on. This is like one of the final steps. Well, besides looking at the frog crawl, which we'll do at the end. What's going on here? So, well, I can see that there's 2 updates, but that's not 15. I've seen sites where there's not updated within the last 5 WordPress releases. So I've invested interest in this site, so I'm going to get this done. But you want to look to see what's going on here. Like, how is this site built? Is it what kind of theme is it? Poke around, make sure there's nothing that needs to be updated. I mean, the one thing I'm really definitely looking for is it to the latest version of WordPress, and are there any plugins that need to be updated? If not, if they need to be updated, that means nobody's taking care of it, which means somebody needs to take care of it. Every 2 days, you should be logging in there and looking for updates and making sure that they're run. So You're doing this on a freelance level. It's one way to win hosting or management of a website and get paid for this time. Because you should be. It's very important. Otherwise, your site gets hacked and your life becomes terrible online. So once again, I'm in here. Maybe look at the pages. I'm just curious how the site was built. And I can tell that by like going over here to themes. Take a look at the theme. Looks like they were starting with this one theme and then moved to a custom theme. No problem. I can tell they're using the Events Calendar Pro plugin to do the events. There's different plugins here to Gravity Forms are using Gravity Forms. So a lot of these are standard, well-known plugins. That's another thing you're looking for is how many plugins are here? 8 million? 10? Hopefully there's less than more. See, I would look at this and wonder which one of these could be turned off, or like Velvet Blue URLs. Like that's only used when you're migrating a site. That should be turned off. Same for all-in-one WP migration. If you're done migrating, turn it off. It's another plugin that doesn't need to be there. Plugins are a lot of times how these sites get hacked or go wrong or have problems. So if they're not used, I say get them out of there. But plugin management and looking what's going on is important with a WordPress site. Keep in mind that if it's a WooCommerce store, there could be a lot of plugins. But WooCommerce store is even more important to make sure that everything is updated as it should be. So that's given me a good idea. I mean, so far this is looking all right. Now, I've been working on this site over time, so I knew that it was going to be updated, but I'm just letting you know. Sometimes I log into these sites and it's like, oh my God, what's going on? Nothing's updated. Lastly, take a look at the site itself, making sure is it responsive. Let's find out. Looking like it is. Hamburger menu, cool. Okay. I like the design, has some blog posts. Can sign up for the newsletter. This is all stuff I'd tie into goal conversions, or at least talk to them about your newsletter, your contact forms, your blog signups. Like track those in goal conversions in Google Analytics. Let's see here. So just looking at these pages. Cool. Site's pretty straightforward. IT company. One of the last things I'll mention I'll do is, they're from Lancaster, so it is in their best interest to get Lancaster business. So fire up a search and just do Critical Design Associates, Lancaster, PA. So they do have a Google My Business page claimed. Pictures uploaded, great. I'm actually a manager of this account, so that's why I'm seeing this information here. But I would look to see, do they even have, did this business ever even do anything at a local level, which every business should. Even if you're a massive company, you got to have a corporate address somewhere, and this kind of information should be complete and accurate, which this is. I've already gone in and changed a lot of stuff. What pages come up? If I want to start seeing if I got links, I might just do Critical Design Associates in quotes. We go deep, 5 pages or so. Oh, no. Not a lot of links to this site, but we can see where they're at. Varport, Florida, biz standings. Now, what this tells me is that there's definitely some name, address, phone number cleanup that needs to go on. So from an SEO perspective, off-site, everything we looked at was on page. Definitely need to do some business data alignment. There's a lot of floating addresses for this company out there that shouldn't be. They've already moved to different places. This just needs to be cleaned up. But also shows you where they're published and where they're talked about. Interesting. So went through all that. Let's take a look at the site crawl. This will be the last part of our little SEO review here. I'm looking for, first off, this crawled every page. Right now I'm going to go to HTML. I'm going to drop down this list. This is just going to give me a crawl report of all the HTML pages. I'm looking for broken links. I'm looking for 404s. 200 means it's good. So 200 status throughout the site. 301 means that it was moved permanently, so there's some sort of redirect in place. There's a lot in this site, and it seems like it has a lot to do with the plugins and for Gravity Forms. That's something that I would investigate eventually, because it just seems like a lot of plugin, like 301s, like why? Um, you can just look to see, make sure JavaScript's working right, CSS, everything's throwing 200 errors. I'm just making sure everything's working right now. Nothing's broken. Images, any broken images? Nope. PDF, Flash, whatever. Okay. External. So these are links on the website out to other sites. Are any of them broken? You know, it looks like most of them are okay. A couple 301 redirects, and this looks like there is redirects from the beta testing website before this went live. I didn't see anything in the search index, but at some point it'd be interesting to see why this is showing up in a crawl. I could do this. Interesting. So right here, I found a potential error. Let me find this out. The sitemap.html. Let me open this up. Right there. If you look right there, news at the link down here. So that needs to be changed. I wouldn't have known that without doing that frog crawl. And this is on their own sitemap. So there was a sitemap XML and sitemap HTML. Now, there's two schools of thought. I usually don't even build a sitemap HTML page anymore because they know to go to the XML sitemap. This isn't going to stay updated like the site will, so I would scrap this. I would redirect this back to the home page. I would actually redirect this sitemap.html to that sitemap.xml, get this out of the index, delete this page, redirect it. This doesn't need to be there. I wonder how many other links. Look, it's another link. So there's going to be a number of links pointing to the dev site that need to be removed. So yeah, it was just an oversight on the web development company. But we found that through frog crawl on external links that are redirected. So all those are redirected, yes. So I click on these. Will it take me to the application delivery page? It should. But if you do want clean SEO, yes. So should that page go or be edited? Yes. Just looking through here. Looking good. No 404s, nothing broken. One of the things I'll start to do too is I'll get over here to page titles, and like this is another way to tell without even looking at the site or even a site colon searches to see what the meta titles are. But more importantly, I'm looking for, where is it? I'm just going to keep clicking through these. One of the things I'll also check is to make sure that every page that has a 200 server code, which means it's a live page and it works, that it has a proper canonical link. So I'm going to see if I can get into that in another section. Okay. H1s on each page. You can see if those have been optimized. If not, not a big deal, but something just to know. Okay. So at a couple sites I've been through, they had more than one meta robots tag. And like, for example, like I see how this has a no index, no follow, but 2 occurrences could have issues with that. So something to look up. I'm just going to take one of these, plug it into the browser. Okay, and then view page source. No index. No index follow. Okay, Well, looks like that was a false alarm there. No index file said. Just want to make sure there's not more than 2 occurrences on the page. So that's what we just checked. Almost done here. You can see if analytics are installed. Search console data. I mean, there's so much you can do with Frog, but that's just a basic thing. I use the in links. So to go back to this very first page, like you start finding broken links, you can use this in links tab to see where it's located. So how I found those links on this page that were incorrect on this sitemap page, I found that by going into Frog and going to this in links tab. So, and it'll tell you where it's linked to. So, hopefully this is helpful. This is what I would do on just like a top level analytics review, just to see what the overall health of the site. This site's fine. Could analytics be optimized? Yes. Does it look like it needs some more content? It needs some SEO loving? Absolutely. But I was able to determine that by going through these steps. So hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. You guys got my contact info. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.